I'm quitting my job in 60 days. And it's not because I have it all figured out or I have a perfect plan that's already working to support me. It's because the cost of me staying is becoming too much to bear. And it's not just really about a paycheck anymore, it's about me losing myself. This isn't a video about me having it all figured out, like I said, but this is my actual plan, and it's the fear and the reality that I'm facing, and it's all going to be the honest truth about how I'm going to quit my job within 60 days. It's not the work itself or my job being hard that is making me quit. It is the time that I have to spend actually going to my job and being at my job that is becoming more and more of just a huge opportunity cost for me to be able to spend that time building something else, building the other things that I believe that I can build. And it's really not about the paycheck anymore. It's the cost of me staying. And there's not going to be a perfect time. I've had this job for 9 months and I've felt that way this entire time, that the cost is almost more than what outweighs the paycheck. And there's not going to be a perfect time for me to make this change in my life. And it's not just going to work itself out. So I'm choosing strategically within about a 2-month time frame that this is going to have to be it, and for my own sanity and my own well-being, that I need to get out of the situation that I'm in right now. So I mentioned strategically, and this is strategic for me in some important ways. Number one, I am going to be securing my mortgage within the next month and a half or so, and that's really the reason that I got a W-2 job in the first place, was to be able to qualify for a mortgage and just stabilize my finances a little bit after my last entrepreneurial experience. And I've done that. I've got pre-approved for my mortgage, so I'm going to go through the finish line with that first and foremost before I make any changes to my employment. And I really intend for quitting not to mean chaos in my life. And this is going to be a transition into self-employment, not just a drop-off for me. So the actual plan for me to make money is to go back to doing something that I've done for a long time, not as the end game in itself, but as a bridge to allow me to quit this job and regain so much of my time freedom that I'm desperately missing right now to, like I said, invest in other things. But I am going to be going back to offering painting, so really interior painting and cabinet refinishing, which is a skill that I've built throughout the past decade of my life. And I previously was self-employed as an interior painter from 2022 to 2024, and I was successful at it. So it is a business that I do have a proven track record of being able to make an income with. And I'm going to be getting a mortgage and living in an area where it is more possible for me to own a home and be self-employed than it was in the area that I was moving away from before. So again, painting isn't perfect and it's not my long-term vehicle. It's something that I transitioned away from in the past for very good reasons. First and foremost, just the physical toll that it takes on your body. But this is a strategic move because I'm going to be able to regain so much of my time having to work less hours and do a skill that I already have in my tool bag and be able to support myself and pay for my mortgage, all the things that I need to do by investing much less than 40 hours a week somewhere that I don't want to be. When you're self-employed, you can also control your income in a way that you really can't when you're employed as an hourly or salaried worker. Right now, I get the same paycheck every 2 weeks, no matter what I do, no matter how hard I work. But when you're self-employed, there are times where you get more jobs or you get a higher ticket job. And that extra income, however much it may be, is able to be saved. You can use it to go on vacation. And I just find that even though I'm getting steadier income, it's really not amounting to the larger lump sums that can really go towards moving the needle when it comes to being able to afford some of the experiences that make life so awesome, like traveling and taking time off. Like, oh my gosh, it's such a suffocating vacation policy. Working for a traditional employer, getting the standard like 2 weeks off when you first start a job, that's crazy. That's absolutely insane to try to maintain your sanity and your quality of life when you get 2 weeks off in a whole year. And it's been super hard for me to deal with that. And so self employment comes with its own pros and cons, but a huge pro is just being able to regain my time. Working a 9 to 5 the past 9 months and what will be nearly a year by the time I exit has taught me really one incredibly valuable lesson, and that is structure. I was self employed for a number of years, and before that, I had a very flexible job. And this 9 to 5 structure has taught me how to structure out my weeks and plan my days. And I'm not necessarily all the time working for my employer at work. I'm able to schedule in time to work on my own projects. And that's given me a huge amount of discipline when it comes to using my days strategically. I feel like in the past, I really got used to being self employed and things would come up, and I just wouldn't work on my business for like a week, 2 weeks, even more at a time because life would life, and I would just not see it really as a priority. And that really has consequences when you're self employed. And now I don't have a choice. No matter what's going on in my life, I'm there from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And it's given me, like I said, a real sense of structure and discipline that I'm going to be taking with me, and I'm going to be able to apply to my self employed life in a way that I really didn't before. And I'm expecting some big changes in how my business is going to go and also the other projects that I'm going to be working on. So I'm not leaving the idea of structure behind when I leave my 9 to 5. I am just going to be using it in a way that is going to apply to me and the things that I really do care about. So, of course, there's going to be risks. It's the instability when it comes to income, and really that's the biggest risk, and just not being able to make enough money as I need to make to support myself and also be able to keep saving money and investing in my business. But really, that risk is nothing in comparison to what the cost is that I'm paying by being at my job and continuing to be at my job. I think it's important to understand that the worst thing that's going to happen is that I'm going to have to go back to working a 9 to 5. If things really don't work out and I'm really not able to make the income that I need, I will just have to go back to working for an employer. But the cost of not finding out and not giving it another go is massive for me at this point. I really am a shell of a person when it comes to the things that I want to have time to do but don't have time to do. I want to have energy to do, but I don't have energy to do. And almost every part of my life has just been in a downward spiral since I've committed to this new schedule and being gone, almost 10, 11, 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's just hard to be a person, and it's hard to keep up on all your other obligations. And I promise you there is a better way, because I've been there and I've done that, and it hasn't been long term for me. But like I said, I'm hoping to build in a more sustainable, structured way. And I talked a lot about this in my video called Authenticity and Not Going Broke. I talked about several mistakes that I made throughout the past decade with self-employment and entrepreneurship that I'm going to be learning from and not go into a tailspin where I end up broke. So you might be interested in checking that video out. I will make sure that there's a link for it or that it's in the description below. But all in all, I would so much rather struggle and work towards my own business and generating my own income than just continue to suffocate in security and safety. So what does success look like for me quitting my job within the next 60 days and in the months that follow? What it's not going to be is instant freedom and instant financial kind of leeway. It's going to be a process. Success really is just going to be stability and regaining my time and being able to put the best hours of my day towards the things that matter to me. I'm going to get so much energy back by just not having to go somewhere and dread going somewhere when I'm not there that I hate being and that I don't want to be and that I know isn't the best use of my time or skill set in the first place. I got a job, like I said, to kind of stabilize my life and help me get a mortgage, but it's turned into a way longer process than I intended it to be. And I think part of the reason why is because it's so tricky and sticky to leave a situation that the whole entire world and everybody that cares about you will tell you is the best thing for you. But it's because people are scared themselves and they haven't taken those risks themselves that have put them in a position where they don't have to do what they're telling you that you have to do. And I know better, honestly. Being able to experience self-employment in the rare times that it has succeeded for me, I do know that it's possible and I haven't stopped believing in that. It's just been a long road for me as far as learning the lessons that I needed to learn, and I'm excited to set back out on this path, and I have a renewed sense of motivation so that I won't have to go back to a situation like this that has been so challenging for me. So I'm choosing a slow path towards financial stability and building something real for myself, but it's my path. Right now, I'm so drained in the evenings, and even on the weekends, I feel like I'm trading 5 days for 2 days of really what I'm using it have to be using as just recovery time and preparation time to go back and do 5 days all over again. And that's not a very good trade. After I quit my job, I'm gonna have fewer days that I actually have to spend on the job site and completing jobs for clients. And I'm gonna have more intentional time. I'm gonna get at least some of my mornings back to use it to journal and work out and just have time here at my house in the daylight, which has been incredibly rare for me the past 9 months. And I really miss just those quiet moments. It's not necessarily going to be an easier life. It's just going to be a more intentional one and a more authentic one to me and what kind of life I want. So I don't know if this is going to work perfectly. I don't have a perfect, well-defined 5-year plan, but I have some ideas that are really exciting for me, and I just know that I can't stay. This isn't about escaping the need to work. It's just about doing the work and putting in the steps to align my work more closely with who it is that I am and what I want for my life. So 60 days. I'll keep you posted.